The Day We Saved the Mail. Autumn light slid across the ochre facades and woke the square with a shy gold. The red postbox stood by the post office steps like a little guard in a crisp uniform. Cafe awnings breathed out the first steam of the day as cups clinked behind glass. Sam jogged in place to warm his legs while he watched the door. Maya checked a penciled list and underlined "Learn Roots" twice. "If we help sort, we'll know the village by heart," she said, and Sam grinned. Mrs. Whitby arrived briskly with keys jangling like small bells. She slid the key in and the hatch scraped, but would not open. She tried again with firm, practiced hands and one only a finger's width. "We'll deal with it after the run," she said without drama. Sam and Maya exchanged a look that meant trouble brewing. The postbox kept its red mouth shut like it had secrets to keep. Inside, the sorting room smelled of paper, ink, and floor polish. A dull thud came from the wall, followed by a thin hiss. Water beaded along a cracked seam and burst into a fine spray. Stacks of mail darkened like leaves after rain. "Buckets, towels, now!" Mrs. Whitby clapped, and feet skittered. Even quick hands were slower than running water. A small river argued with the back door, and won. Sam muscled a plastic bin beneath the leak until it pinged with drops. Maya stacked cooling racks like bridges for paper to breathe. Ink feathered into soft halos where names still held. Outside, fresh air and lines, decided Mrs. Whitby. They chose the square as their battlefield because the sky was wide. Mr. Ortega looked up from a half-painted menu and smiled without asking. He passed stout twine and a fist of wooden pins through the window. Nono Rossi dropped a herb line from her balcony between pots of rosemary. Neighbors fetched stools, hooks, and a stepladder from nowhere. In minutes, a web of lines crisscrossed the square like careful spider silk. The morning bustle softened into a quiet rescue. "Dry envelopes only," Mrs. Whitby said, setting a crate on a bench. "No one reads letters. Names face inward. Privacy is the rule." Sam and Maya pinned the first wave in tidy street clusters. Maya invented colored dots for roots in the time of a breath. People queued for pins and accepted the rule like it had always existed. The church tower kept time, while the square learned to. They read only what the world may read: names, numbers, postmarks. Handwriting told its own weather. Loops like wind, angles like rain. A bundle with smudged stamps looked tired of traveling. Maya logged new, old, returned, and no address with quick ticks. Sam ferried baskets between line and grid like a sure-footed heron. The system began to hum like a well-oiled hinge. By late morning, the stubborn box finally yawned open. A broken pencil wedge and grit showed why it had choked. Mrs. Whitby fished the culprit out with tweezers and a sigh. Sam lifted a brimming basket and someone cheered without meaning to. The terrier barked as if it had solved the mystery itself. "Back to the lines," Maya said, and the square obeyed. By noon, the square was a gallery of addressed rectangles. The cat paused mid-prowl to read the wind with its whiskers. Mr. Ortega brought blotting pads and old fans from the studio. The baker propped the door to waft gentle cinnamon warmth. "We'll save them," Maya said, and meant it. The clock hand slid forward like a nod. In return, a thick cream envelope lay softened by years. Its looping hand wrote only a first name and nothing more. Mrs. Whitby checked the old carrier log with her finger steady. A line read, "Held, no house found, likely dispute. We don't open, we deliver the outside," she said carefully. The letter felt heavier than paper when she lifted it. A light drizzle stitched silver on the lines. Umbrellas rose like a small forest above the paper. Nonna Rosie spotted her grandson's looping blue handwriting. She pressed the paper to her cheek before pinning it to dry. 2 envelopes mixed, same surname, wrong houses, sparked a sharp breath. Sam's color dots untied the knot and tempers thinned. Maya chalked a grid on the cobbles, streets on one axis, numbers on the other. The square turned into a living spreadsheet. Volunteers carried drying baskets with the rhythm of a gentle machine. Mrs. Whitby stamped a tiny blue check on every fully dry envelope. The priest lent church keys to tie extra lines from the rail. The cafe owner served hot cocoa to wet sleeves and grateful smiles. The cream envelope traced to 2 shops that shared a wall, but not a greeting. Air between their thresholds felt colder than the weather. Mr. Ortega had painted both signs back when the owners were partners. A crack in business had grown into a canyon of silence. "Outside only," Mrs. Whitby reminded, voice even as string. Sam understood delivery here meant more than footsteps. By late afternoon, neat stacks waited on a table at the square's center. Mrs. Whitby proposed a simple ceremony of claiming. Maya read names while Sam matched dots to grid without a miss. Neighbors moved in a slow river and left with paper that knew them. Nonna received the blue letter and kissed the air toward the bakery ceiling. She tucked it into her cardigan pocket like a warm stone. For the cream envelope, Mrs. Whitby asked the children to walk with her. They stood between the 2 quiet doors and felt the village hold its breath. She placed the envelope on a small wooden tray borrowed from the cafe. She rang a handbell once and stepped back 2 paces. "Outside only," she said to the air and perhaps to the past. They waited at the edge of the square with nothing left to say. One door opened a careful inch, then the other matched it. 2 pairs of shoes shuffled toward the tray like cautious boats. One hand lifted the envelope as another steadied the stool. No words spilled, but a shoulder lowered as if a weight set down. The tray returned empty, and no one looked at the ground. The children felt taller without moving at all. Back inside, a plumber replaced the cracked pipe with a bright new length. He added a shutoff valve with a simple turn handle. Sam scrubbed the postbox hinge with a toothbrush until it shone. Maya logged maintenance dates on a fresh card in block letters. Mr. Ortega lettered a little base sign in careful gold. Cleared and cared. Mrs. Whitby nodded as if the box had been taught good manners. At dusk, the last envelopes came off the lines into the right hands. The square glowed so softly that paper looked like lanterns. The terrier spun in triumph while the tabby claimed the post office step. "We saved them," Maya whispered, tired and bright. "You saved more than paper," said Mrs. Whitby, meaning it. Sam looked at the clean postbox and felt the day click into place. From ruined scraps, Mr. Ortega taught the children to fold small lanterns. No names, no messages, only patterns and light. They strung them under Nona's balcony among the herbs. The notice board got its own garland like a quiet thank you. Sam placed one on his windowsill where night liked to tap. The room felt braver than the wind. Morning came sharp and bright with a scent of cocoa, cinnamon, and damp paper grown strong. A new queue formed at the postbox, shorter, tidier, thankful. Each envelope got a small pat like greeting an old friend. The hinge moved clean as a thought. Sam and Maya stood with Mrs. Whitby and watched the square breathe. When a gust lifted their hair, it only made the village look more like something that could hold